on, you guys. It's Friday.
Whoa, what did I do?
You're looking all tired.
I am
Look
tired.
alive, because we are live
I'm not
and
tired.
alive.
Oh, no, don't say it. Don't
This is
say
Ari,
it.
the Data Queen, joined by analyst Told, Matt Muscardi, and Hazelnut Rawless, who, does anybody have a pulse here?
No,
Hello?
not today. It does seem, though, that the music is not going to fade. So, whatever reason, Riverside has decided today
We're
there's no
staying
fade.
up.
We're staying up until now.
Oh,
That was sudden. That was sudden.
There's nothing I can do about it. I don't know what Riverside's doing.
hot.
On today's weekly wrap-up, we have compassion training at the largest private employer in the U.S.
The largest private employer.
We're starting off hot with the
Starting
laugh
hot,
track.
Yeah.
OpenAI, Sam Altman, still in the news, and
Oh.
ISS outdid themselves and started offering an even worse voting option.
It did do that.
Boo
yeah.
ISS.
So we're going to get into that. But, Damien, why don't you start us off with story
It's a
of
weird transition.
the week?
But Damien started. Okay.
But, B-U-T-T. But, Damien.
Oh,
I have more than usual this week
puns.
because
Is
I
it a pun?
got really hung up on one story at the end of my story, so I got more than I should. So maybe I'll
All
just
right.
get going and go quickly.
That's why I called on you first.
Boeing whistleblower who warned of aircraft safety flaws found dead. I mean, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Why?
I
I
like
don't
the
know why
story.
no one really cares about this story, but there's some other disturbing stories going with this. His name was John Barnett. His friends are already saying that he told a friend specifically that I'm not scared, but if anything happens to me, it's not suicide.
Oh,
he
my
actually
I don't
said
like
this to a friend.
I don't like the story.
Is this hearsay?
Well, okay, it's what the friend said. Yeah, I mean, there's no proof that. I don't know if she's a
Maybe
credible
could have
witness.
texted. I don't know.
Boeing workers are also kind of freaked, and because this is like a happy-go-lucky guy, and they don't really know what to make of it. There's already some reporting discrepancies in the police report and the people working at the hotel where he was found. So the thing is nuts. It's just it's a nutso story. First of all, I can't believe Dave Calhoun keeps his job, and second of all, I can't believe not more is made of this. Another Boeing whistleblower said this week that he got, when he realized the plane he was flying was a 737 MAX, he got off the plane immediately.
Yeah,
so,
I don't like that either.
this is just nuts. All of this is really disturbing.
My wife has actually got to take a flight to Texas, like, is it later, like in a couple months, and I told her you cannot fly a Boeing. Like, I just
Well, at least not a
it's that
737
point.
MAX.
We're at that point.
right?
I
now,
hope
right?
they don't do a
No.
little switcheroo last second.
But that's the thing. Like,
From now on, they should announce
Well, that's what he said.
when you're boarding, you are getting on to
Ari, that's,
Airbus A320.
You're not joking, Ari, because that's what the second Boeing whistleblower said, is that they kind of changed it at the end, and he realized what plane he
Right.
was on, so he just immediately
Right,
got
but I'm
off.
sure it wasn't announced.
Well, he's a Boeing employee,
Right.
so he knows things.
Right.
He can smell a 737.
he can smell a missing door plug. I'm just
Yeah.
I know, like, you can say the earlier Boeings were safer because they've been flying a long time, they've been tested and whatever, but Dave Calhoun has been there for how long? 20 years?
20
or 15, 17 years?
Was on
something
the
like
board
that?
before he was CEO.
He was on the board before he was CEO. He's part of the McDonnell Douglas sort of culture shift. The Ken Duberstein brought him in crew,
Yeah,
right?
the
They
Duberstein
all
posse.
know, they've known each other. We did the deep dive for the last 25 or 30 years of this board and this management team. There is no way that I would trust a single Boeing plane under this management team. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's tough. It's tough to.
This story's dark, though. I don't really know
Yeah,
what
I don't
to
like
say
this
about it.
story. I'm not going to vote for it because I'm terrified of it.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Let's
It makes
move
me
on.
Voting
feel
hasn't
icky.
opened yet.
Yeah.
Next.
Move on. OpenAI has full confidence in CEO Sam Altman after
Yeah, that's not a good
after
story
an
either.
investigation reveals he was fired as a consequence of a breakdown in the relationship and loss of trust between him and the prior board. So
Isn't that obvious? Like, isn't that why you fire somebody
that's what's
as a
weird
board?
about
You
this.
lose trust in them?
yes, Ari, that's why I single out the story, is that the board was doing its job, but they're saying it's okay. The company now has full confidence in him again. I don't understand. Who has full confidence in Sam Altman? Himself? I don't. I don't understand this story at all.
They're saying the board, they're not saying the board was doing its job. They were saying that the board lost trust in him for reasons they don't even, they just say breakdown in the relationship, right? So what does that even mean? But they lose trust in him. They fire him because they lose trust in him. Then they get fired and he gets brought back. And the report says, well, it was fine because all that really happened was they lost trust in him. That doesn't make any sense.
For no reason.
I'm covering I'll just get to the next story because this actually dovetails something that this guy says. Ira Milstein, longtime advocate for corporate governance change, has died at 97. He's like I feel like he's the grandfather of corporate governance. But I was reading an interview with him, but he was talking about this very thing, is that the board needs to make sure the CEO isn't lying to them.
Yes,
right?
That's their job. Yes.
Yeah, but he's saying it's a difficult part of their job and why he was also pissed that that CEOs are also chairs. He thinks it's ridiculous.
Right.
But that's part of the problem, right? If the board thinks the CEO is lying to them and withholding information, then the board can't do their job. And at a company like OpenAI, this seems pretty damn important. It's not like they're selling. I don't even know what's not important.
Mickey Mouse
T-shirts
ears. Where we're having a $40 million proxy fight about Mickey Mouse ears. No, this does seem a little more important than that. And Milstein's right? Like the information asymmetry between the board and management is basically the board's job to fix. And if the board can't trust that management is giving them the correct information or telling them the truth, the board's job is to remove management and put in management that they believe represents the stakeholders better. And in this case, stakeholders are not shareholders. It is a non-profit board. So that is also nowhere in this report.
All right. Let me get back to my list. That was the second story, OpenAI. The third story, State Department Commission report warns AI could be an extinction level threat. I don't think there's much more to say about that. That's the third story. My fourth story was the death of Ira Milstein, which brings me to my fifth story, because this is in honor of Ira, because what makes me sad about our industry, is a lot of the stuff he's talking about in 2006, 2004, I was looking at some of the stuff, is referring to data that really has been stagnant. It hasn't really changed. We don't get anywhere. I
has
applaud.
Changed.
Okay,
We've
but
changed
I'm talking about corporate governance data. Yeah, okay, that's my point. Okay, we've changed it. And I was also looking at MSCI's, they have I don't know what it's called now, but they have a annual Women on Boards report, and God bless MSCI for putting out the report. But damn, that is some stale stuff. They have no other way of speaking about this data other than just counting bodies on a board. Which to me is ridiculous and ludicrous, mostly considering we have the data. We have the data that goes beyond counting women on the board, but actually demonstrates the amount of influence represented by the women on the board. And here's why I'm talking about this, because I picked this story in honor of Ira, because I found some data that was just shocking, some of our own data. So here's the story. QVC apologizes to Asian community and women and vows increased DEI work after offensive email to customers. So the email in question came with the subject line about a handbag. It says, "You will love this bag long time."
Oh no!
And for those of you who don't know, this is in reference to a phrase "me love you long time," which has long been considered offensive to Asian women and carries sexual connotations. It was popularized in a Stanley Kubrick movie in the 80s called Full Metal Jacket. It's a weaponized phrase used to put down Asian women. So that's the background of this. And this email was sent on International Women's Day. This is just crazy. But it gets worse. Who did they trot out for the apology? A man named Mike Fitzharris.
Actually, in their defense, it would have been worse if they tried it out an Asian woman to apologize.
I guess you're right.
Would not have liked
QVC. Remind me.
It's the
channel?
TV channel. You shop on
the
TV, and you
stuff.
sell stuff. You buy a bag.
God.
Yeah.
So he came
Still
out
alive,
and apologized, and he said that the phrase runs counter to our values and principles as an organization, and is in no way reflective of our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the company Q-Rate Retail. It's a publicly traded company in our database, and listen to these shocking numbers. They're according to MSCI data, they would be considered 22% female, which is already bad. It's
not great. It's below average.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like most of the things they sell to women anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, Ari. And in the modern world, I mean, if you're not hitting the 30% mark on women on your boards, you suck. Honestly, you suck. But and the executive team is no better. It's 4 men and, of course, a female chief legal officer. But
Wait, not even head of HR?
Let me get back to my point about our data. Our data shows that of the 22% female bodies, they represent only 4% of total influence on the board.
Wow.
Now, it gets worse.
That's great.
Because Q-Rate Retail is controlled by Greg Maffei, he's the executive chair, and John C. Malone. And they control several companies in our database. Their imprint is on several companies in our database, along with John's son Evan Malone. And let me reveal the data on those companies. At Charter Communications, only 7% of the directors are women, representing 3% influence. At Live Nation, 18% are women, 6% influence. TripAdvisor, 30% women, 11% influence. SiriusXM, 31% women, 12% influence. Liberty Broadband, 25% women, 8% influence. Zillow, 33% women, 5% influence. Warner Brothers Discovery is the only one that's kind of close, but they're still low. 23% women, 19% influence. And at Liberty Global, 18% women, 5% influence. And before you ask the question, these are not all dictatorships. These are not all companies where one man controls 70% of influence. Some of these are democracies. But the point is that our data shows that all of the companies run by John Malone and Greg Maffei have women with absolutely no influence. So our data predicts horrible stories like this. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Live Nation, only where Harvey Weinstein used to be a director.
I think yeah, that's true.
Too.
I think Damien should drop the microphone for the rest of the day.
When I find like this, it just sickens me. It sickens me that we're still at an age where we just scratch our heads and we're just like, I don't know what's going on. But here is a conduit to starting to figure out what's going on right here. Our data.
International Women's Day.
I'm shocked they didn't blame an intern.
Yeah,
female intern.
Where's our account was hacked email?
I mean, it's as simple as Gen Z intern wrote this, does not know the what do you call it? The
phrase,
reference.
yeah.
Where the reference comes from.
Well,
but this is their culture. It's a male culture. Why would that?
You can get hired reporting to an executive man, and then you can tell them this marketing strategy and get them out of the problem.
So five stories. Yeah,
Damien's got 5 stories. The Boeing whistleblower, which I do not like, is dead. OpenAI's full confidence in Sam Altman. Extinction level threat, that is AI. That's a story by itself. Ira Milstein dies, and he was he's the great godfather of corporate governance.
Doesn't he seem like a star? I mean, I in my head, it like kind of started with Nell and Bob and Ira. I don't know. Ira seems like the
this
dude.
is one of the greats.
I mean, he even consulted with Disney, our subject on the Proxy Countdown yesterday. He consulted on their board.
And I don't think the QVC story is really the story. I think it's the gender power gap. I think that's really the story here that just keeps re-popping up, and QVC is the latest incarnation.
Matt, and honestly, though, I picked that story in honor of Ira because as I was digging into Ira and a lot of his great work, I was realizing that everything I was reading was dated like 2005. And I was just thinking, like, how have we not advanced beyond the great promise to what he started that he was talking about 20 years ago? How are we still
it is bananas.
This stagnant corporate governance data? It makes me crazy.
See this is where you got carried away. I mean, it's the same thing for the government, right? Congresswomen. It's like every year we celebrate one more woman, and it's topped at 25% of
But
Congress.
but it's really
And to your
the
point-
idea of a count, right?
Yeah.
Like
To your point, Ari, like we still haven't had a female president, right? I mean, we
Right.
still haven't. We have to look at those leadership roles too. It's not just about like how many are in New Hampshire, but I mean, look, there
Right.
has been progress made, so I salute that progress. But I'm just talking about the actual data, the ESG data. Like I just can't believe that the entire industry just lets it remain stagnant.
Well, there you go. What's your vote, Ari? I know you were going to vote first because
Coffee's
that's all
really
you
working
ever.
this morning, really getting
I
out.
know. There you go.
You know, I'm going to go with the QVC story.
Thank you.
The extinction
Yeah.
level
In
threat
honor of
from the
our
State
data.
Department.
In honor
I mean,
of our data.
what about climate change? I guess they've already said that.
Yeah, well, everything's an extinction level event at this point. Like
Right.
we're just dead. I don't know. Like it
So,
feels.
QVC's got my
And
vote.
the Boeing whistleblower, I'm torn between the full confidence in Sam Altman and the QVC story because
Except
the
that we don't
QVC
cover
story
OpenAI.
is the IRA story. Yeah, I
OpenAI
know
is
we
not
don't
one
cover
in
them,
our database.
But I'm gonna go with the QVC story also
Yes.
in honor of IRA, and I'm gonna do
honor
it
of
because
us.
I'm going to cover OpenAI later anyway. So yeah, so that's your winner.
All right.
Which brings us to
Me.
you.
Good list of the week. Oh,
better
I'm
be
so
good, Ari.
excited for what you
I'm
guys
all
have
worked
to
up.
say to
These
me
better
this
be
week.
good.
Yeah, I know.
You're, oh boy.
he's
There better
a
be some women in leadership here.
This is my first headline. Women aren't getting the big jobs at Goldman Sachs. And they're heading for the exits. Now,
Oh.
before you say anything,
Oh,
I don't want to hear it,
cynic.
Damien.
Yeah.
How is this good?
Yeah.
We got to focus on the second half of the headline here. They're heading for the exits.
Yeah.
A Wall Street Journal
mixed bag
analysis
of
found
good.
that 2/3 of the women who were partners at the end of 2018 have left the firm, while just under half of the male partners did the same. No woman
Okay.
currently runs a major division or is seen
come on.
internally
Really?
as a credible candidate to one day succeed chair and CEO David Solomon, aka
DJ D. Sol.
DJ
Does this
Sol.
surprise anyone that do you think how could it not be a male culture at a place where your the CEO is DJ D. Sol going at these sweaty concerts? I mean, think about that though. I mean, does that surprise anyone? Does this data surprise anyone that they're leaving and that they're not being promoted? It doesn't surprise me. I know this is sort of an
They're
anecdotal
leaving.
point of view
This
here.
is
But
like whenever you yell at all the Tesla people on the boards, like, quit. This is them quitting, and it's come out. You know, that's pretty good.
maybe they
I
can
also
come
look
work
at
for
the.
us. We need.
I
some
looked at the
smart
executive
women.
team, and 2 out of the 8 executive officers are women. One of them in legal, and the other
course.
one in accounting.
Ooh.
Non-revenue generating positions.
Well, that's it.
But if you're thinking this
yeah.
means that human resources is led by a man, which is not typically, you'll be very wrong because there isn't one.
Well, I'm glad you point this out, Ari, because we see repeatedly, and this is why I'm talking about stagnant governance ESG data, because what we see over and over and over is that even at these horrible companies I was pointing out run by John Malone and Greg Maffei, is that when there are women, they're not involved with strategy or revenue generation. They're
Right.
just put in like gatekeeper roles, which
Right.
is just even
No,
more
they're
maddening.
not gatekeeper. They're moms. They put in
okay,
mom
well, that's what I
roles.
mean by
They
gatekeeper,
control
yeah.
the money. They control compliance. They tell you what you're not allowed to do. And then
they clean up your mess.
They clean up the mess after
Yeah.
the boys leave a mess at the
just
Airbnb.
insulting. It's insulting.
They hire mom to come in and clean it all up.
well, they're doing it at Goldman.
Well, no, they're not because they're leaving. Go
They're
to go
leaving.
do it somewhere
I don't know
else,
how
and
I feel
that's the
about this, Ari.
goodliest.
I don't know how I feel about this.
They quit. All right. Walmart, the largest private employer
Walmart.
in the U.S. Don't
Yeah.
forget, Walmart, 1.6 million people.
Wow. It's more than
they
my
want
state.
to teach store managers compassion.
Think about that. Walmart's bigger than the state of Maine. Think about that.
Yeah, and
That's
they're
crazy.
putting a focus on people skills training.
How do you teach compassion?
You don't slap them in the.
You
I don't know.
You fly about
Hugs?
2,000 managers every
Give 'em a
year to
raise?
the headquarters, and you discuss
in
how to
Arkansas?
relate to workers and customers.
Ooh, there it is. Yeah.
This is good.
This is good. How
Okay.
many other companies are you hearing about flying their employees to teach them compassion? And this is good because this directly affects like hourly workers, right? If your manager is a jerk, or if you feel like your manager is a jerk, and you get fired because you have, I don't know, you got a call from the school and you had to leave to go get your kid. Like now that you won't get fired.
Ari, were you up late last night?
Ooh, yeah.
I think you were. Were you distracted? Did you have a lot of data queen work to do? Because why not just give all the workers living wages? Maybe that's an act of compassion.
Ooh.
Well, the managers make like $120,000 plus bonuses.
But the workers. You're talking about the. This is one of the richest families on the globe that runs this company.
Hey, now they're compassionate. Continue, Ari.
You guys, no
This
one else is
hurts
doing
me.
this.
This is hurting me.
All right.
How do you know no one else is doing this? Is that true? Is that in our data?
That is, that's not.
Well,
I don't know that.
I'll tell listeners.
No one else is doing enough PR to get their compassion.
You better continue before
on
you
the New
bury
York
yourself.
Times.
I'll tell
deeper
listeners,
in the
Ari,
goodliness.
that Ari, you
have
don't have
those?
to answer if that is in our data or not. I'll tell our listeners, buy our data, and then you can find out if that data is in our data.
There you go.
All right. And lastly, I
a
think
good strategy.
you'll like this one. The Inflation Reduction Act has injected $240 billion into clean energy.
All right,
I can get
that's
behind
one.
that. I
There
like
we
that.
go. Yeah, don't say any more.
You gotta
don't ruin
know
it.
what's happening. An analysis by Rhodium Group and MIT, analysis of U.S. investment in clean energy shows that for every $1 the government invested through the Inflation Reduction Act, the private sector spent $5.47.
Okay, I sort of
Which
understand what
combined,
that means.
it led to $250 billion flowing into the clean economy.
The subsidies
in just
worked,
1 year.
basically.
I like it.
Right.
Ari, I mean, I love that story. The only sad part about this is I just saw another headline saying that one of the issues holding all this back is that we don't have enough skilled workers in the green energy
Yeah, we'll get
sector.
there.
I know, but why?
true.
Why are we getting there? Why aren't we there? Why aren't we there, Matt? Come on.
Okay. Well, maybe
Well
we
fired
can
up
talk
today.
about how skills matrices. You can learn safety skills in 1 month when you become the head of the
That's
safety
true.
committee.
Mr. to doctor in a week.
Yeah. So, but it takes time. This one's a no-brainer. Is there any question? We're both voting for the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah,
You
unless-
guys
$240 billion
shut
into clean
down
energy.
Walmart so hard.
Unless Ari quickly finds me some data that the women who are leaving Goldman Sachs are finding better jobs with more money and higher titles at other firms, then I'm going to have
They
to
have
vote
Goldman
for.
Sachs on their resume.
No,
Do they
but-
need more?
I know, but are they ending up in like they're
Yeah,
being
they end
demoted
up as
with
the head
worse
of
pay?
HR somewhere else.
All right, yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I'm going to vote for Inflation Reduction Act.
There it is, which means
Was that bad, Ari?
the
Good
cynicism rules, and we're on to more
Quit.
of it.
2. What? Is there another section? I don't think so.
There might as well not be. So I have 3, one of which is basically a one-liner, so sort of pointless
thank God.
as one. The first up is this headline, which really triggered me. Sam Altman will return to OpenAI's board with 3 new directors.
Does that mean 3 new pals?
So
what does that
Yeah,
mean?
without AI backgrounds.
It's 3 women.
Oh,
Because the board right now is Brett Taylor, Adam D'Angelo, and Larry Summers, which is
And Sam
really
Altman. And Sam
Altman's
back.
and Sam Altman, who's returning to the board with
Thank
the
God.
new directors, right? So he's so heaven forbid we have an equal split of genders on this board, but also heaven forbid they actually have AI skills because they don't.
Yeah.
But
who is it?
Damien covered on Tuesday who the women were on the Good Game a little bit, but I did a deeper dive because it just got me. It made me crazy. So remember, OpenAI is a nonprofit organization. So woman number
wink,
1,
wink.
Sue Desmond-Hellman. She is the CEO of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So already
Former CEO.
Former CEO. Yeah, former CEO. Already
Microsoft.
Microsoft's tie. Okay, that's
funny
that
when
feels
you
problematic.
It's funny when you say Bill Gates. I do think Microsoft. It's funny how that works.
It's weird. Also Melinda a little bit. But
A little less.
she's actually in our database because she was on the board of Facebook Pfizer.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yes.
Really?
She was on the board of Facebook and Pfizer. Facebook from 2013 to 2019. Can you think of a worse period in Facebook's history?
That's the meat hook period. That's the like addiction period of Facebook.
In fact, at Pfizer, she's currently on that board. She's
Speaking of
connected
addiction.
to a quarter of the board. She has 7% of the influence, and she bats a stellar 0.052 for controversies, meaning in every company she goes, it's a controversial shit show.
Well, good.
Like
then
the
she's
worst
perfect
shit
for,
happens.
Then OpenAI is a perfect place for her.
So what you're thinking right now is, you know what kind of guardrails we need for OpenAI, which is set to destroy humanity? Probably the same guardrails we had on Facebook between 2013 and 2019.
Well, it's great for OpenAI. It's not great for humanity, but it's great at just kind of like putting your blinders on and growing at breakneck speed.
No, but like the media is touting like the fact that they brought in these women who are highly qualified and like this
we're not.
board
We're the real media.
So let's go to woman number 2, Nicole Seligman.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole is a lawyer. And
This is a head scratcher, this one.
Not the human rights kind of lawyer. She represented Ollie North, and it turns out she was the ex-president of Sony America, Sony USA. When she was the president of Sony America, or just before when she was vice president into president, she was an executive there during the 2011 PlayStation hack that exposed 77 million users' personal information to hackers.
There's a lot of people playing PlayStation, yeah.
13 years later, it's still one of the biggest hacks, one of the top 10 hacks in global history in terms of number of people exposed. After the hack, she joined the Council on Cybersecurity Board, which works on cybersecurity, which I assume is just like they brought her in to say, you failed really bad at this. Tell
us what you
Tell
did.
us what you did
That's
so we
weird.
can make a council to
Seriously?
not do that again.
She joined that board after?
Not joking. So I'm not exactly
Maybe
sure.
it's penance. Maybe she's Catholic.
Now the guardrails you want on the OpenAI board is Sony America during the PlayStation hack.
Like,
it doesn't
hack me.
It doesn't seem good. And finally, Fiji Simo. She's the CEO of Instacart. Turns out her career was, before Instacart, was Facebook. She is the head of the Facebook app. Prior to that, she was the head of video games and monetization.
Oh.
She started,
Money,
not kidding,
money,
making
money.
the money.
Anything worse? Can you think of anything worse?
She was there roughly the same time that Sue Desmond Hellman was on the board. And she started her career at eBay. And she is currently in our database because she's on the boards of Shopify and Instacart. She has a .171 controversy batting average, meaning everywhere she goes, she bats in the bottom 17th percentile of controversies. Fun side note about her, Damien actually predicted in 2023 that she would be tagged as the next CEO of Facebook.
Oh, right? Hey, that could still happen. That could still happen. Can I just say what? Can I just say that isn't it wonderful that we seem to live in a world that you're either or both you're either a college dropout, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, or you went to Stanford or I guess Harvard in case, but it's either Stanford or a college dropout. That's kind of the mix, right? Or Facebook, Stanford, college dropout. That's who we're run by.
This book is the Facebook board because let's summarize, right? What we have on the board now is Brett Taylor, who's the ex-Twitter chair, a co-founder of Salesforce. He actually worked at Google. And in fact, he's the one who invented the like button at Facebook. He worked at Facebook.
The like button that everybody craves.
Yeah.
Stanford grad. Stanford.
The source of all our problems. Larry Summers, who's the grumpy grandpa at Harvard, who thought women were unable to compete with men. He was the head of Harvard when Zuck founded Facebook while at Harvard. And it is actually in The Social Network, the movie, and plays a role in the founding.
You're killing me.
Adam D'Angelo, who's the founder of Quora, he's the former CTO of Facebook.
Of course he is.
Now Sue Desmond-Hellman was on the board of Facebook. Fiji Simo, who led monetization at Facebook. And the black sheep of them, because she's the only non-Facebook alum, is Nicole Seligman, who oversaw the largest hack in history on the board of, or as an executive at Sony. But she was also on the board of CBS Viacom with a different set of dictators. So literally, this entire
the Redstone
board,
family,
the entire board are either happy with dictators through Facebook, worked for dictators, on the board of dictators. They're all totally happy with dual class dictators everywhere they go. And the follow-up to this is the OpenAI released Sora earlier this year, which is like the text to video input thing. Which is great for misinformation because you can just write in, show me Joe Biden stuttering, and it'll do that for like 20 minutes. I'm sure that's coming.
I like that.
The current CTO of OpenAI was not sure where Sora learned where it got its training from. They weren't sure. She said it was from licensed data somewhere, and then they were like, from like YouTube, and she was like, I don't know. So that's number one.
That's the worst part for me.
And Matt, let's not forget the two women who left the OpenAI board. One of them I know is Helen Toner, who is a academic who just knows everything about this field. I don't remember the other one, but I mean, it's not just that the addition is terrible, but the subtraction is terrible.
Yeah, so we've lost the
academics
only
have walked
AI guardrails. All right, so that's number one. Number two. This headline,
that was number one. Oh my God,
that was number one.
Yeah.
Number two, this headline, which I've talked about this in the past, but it came back up, and I just think it's such a fucking stupid, assholey thing. Self-powered cargo ship shows potential of wind.
Not self-powered.
Oh, sorry. Sail-powered cargo ship shows potential of wind.
Potential of wind.
The potential of wind.
Poor Christopher Columbus. I hope you're not listening.
Cargill actually installed these like modern sails on their boats, and they say the data underscores, this is a quote, underscores the potential of wind to reduce the shipping industry's carbon footprint.
Vasco da Gama is shocked. He's shocked.
Come on. This is something we knew literally 500 years ago. 1,000 years ago we were doing this.
I mean, they were sailing around the Cape of Horn, people.
This is so fucking stupid. And then finally, so that one's just in there because I couldn't get over it. Finally, your third option is Nelson Peltz.
Uh-oh.
Why is he the jerk this week?
Come on. I want Nelson to buy our data.
I don't care if he buys the data, but look, his campaign is called Restore the Magic.
Yeah, that smells fishy to me.
I mean, what do you immediately think of when it's like restore the magic, right? Like, what does that make you feel?
I think of an anti-Semitic Walt Disney, but I'm also a bit crazy.
I do think of Mickey Ears. I don't know, because you say Nelson Peltz, I now think Disney, Procter & Gamble. But
oh wow.
But yeah, so here's the he could either restore the magic like the way he restored it at all the boards he sat on, where he lost money everywhere.
Okay,
basically TSR in all of his tenures has been bad, except for at Procter & Gamble. Or, and Damien and I covered this at ad nauseum, at length in the Proxy Countdown, which we dropped yesterday about this whole thing. It's a long show, an hour-long show, but
worth every minute.
And we cover everything. Like there's so much to cover. It has this vague MAGA smell to it, doesn't it? Make America great again, restore the magic.
I don't think it's that vague, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. All right. So this campaign that he's launched against Disney has cost shareholders $40 million to fight, right? Okay, so he's all about like returns to shareholders. Like he's charging them effectively.
That's like the price for like a whole CEO.
Yes, a CEO and
you could hire a whole CEO.
And you go through his strategy, and his strategy is a bunch of nothing burger. But there was one thing that stood out to me, which was as part of the creative process, he wanted a board-led initiative to review the creative engine at Disney. He effectively review the content. Review the content. What are you doing? And this is not only a board that has nobody who's ever done anything creative in their lives.
Yeah.
Nelson Peltz is one of the least creative people you're going to talk about. I mean, like, I did see his art up in the MoMA the other week.
Nelson Peltz?
No, he doesn't have any art in MoMA.
Right by Rothko?
But the whole campaign is premised on this idea of returning Disney to the glory days, by which you can only take away Disney's brand used to be associated with family in that sort of like traditional Americana sense. There were no gays. There were no people of color. It was like a bunch of white heteronormative families with 2.5 kids who bring them to Disney World.
Right.
Disney itself was forced to expand the notion of family to cover families. Like actual families in this kind of modern kind of definition of family.
Well, those families existed in the past too, but we really didn't talk about them.
I'm just saying they recognize that those are potential consumers, right? And we should be, targeting
we should not
all
be
of them.
assholes. Yeah.
But
we should make money from everyone.
Peltz wants to go back to that, which... What is that? Is that the one that's vaguely to openly racist from like the 50s and 80s in Disney?
Well,
Or is it
Disney has shelved certain films, right, for being overtly racist. Have they not?
They like you add two kisses in this country, two homosexual kisses in this country, and the country loses its mind. And Nelson Peltz says they're failing, right? And his strategy includes nuggets like this: insist on a direct-to-consumer strategy to earn Netflix like 15 to 20% margin.
I like that one. That's a good insistence. do like Netflix.
I just like the idea that you go to the boardroom and you're like, I insist we make more money.
Be more like that guy.
Do it.
No, I'm not saying do it. I'm insisting that you do it. I mean, I really mean it. This is just petulant billionaire bullshit.
Nelson Peltz insists, and it's is like the headline.
And it's like, I'm so tired of it because it's like it seems like it's compounding because you have Ackman versus Harvard, and you have Musk versus everyone who's not Musk, and now you have Peltz versus Disney. It's like billionaires who didn't get their way who are bitching.
I don't get what his way is here though.
Okay, Ari, can I speak to that, Ari?
Margins.
I want to toot my own horn. I think I made the pretty credible case yesterday. I looked at all the media industry peers. Disney is, because billionaires love being involved with media because their egos are so large. Disney is the only open target, basically, because all the other media companies are controlled by with people who have over 50% of influence on the board or voting power. This was the only one he could get into. And to Matt's point, this is a guy who, he's a Republican donor. He's friends with Donald Trump. And I think you're right, Matt, to point out that no one else is really pointing out. It's that there's a whiff of weird MAGA nonsense here, right? What are we restoring the magic to? What are we look? We're dialing the clock back to a time when before the internet existed. Is that a
black and
good
white
time?
film?
I'm not saying any of this is in his deck, but it does just like everywhere it feels like that.
The dog whistle, right?
Yeah, when you're saying restore the magic and go back to a time when it was
activist
like
dog whistle.
and he's talking about, he frames it as like talking about returning to shareholder returns, but it turns out when you look at the data, shareholder returns were great up until the pandemic and the woke thing, right? It wasn't actually a problem.
And let's not forget that Bob Iger stepped down right when the pandemic began, and that you're talking about a company that 70% of its earnings came from parks. So, it was a difficult time to manage.
So we came out and we actually said Blackwell's is right here. And if you want to know why, go get the proxy countdown. But we also went through a whole lot of data, a whole lot of analysis, and we gave some recommendations. But Nelson Peltz, you got yourself, through all that research, you got yourself an asshole nomination for me.
This is the thing I think this is the thing he cares about the most. I think being nominated for your asshole list is the thing.
I think he did.
I think that's what people want to avoid the most.
We should send it to him. He'll like it for his ego.
He would love it. He would love it.
There is the trolling that is the 3 new directors on OpenAI's board and Sam Altman returning to it. There is sail-powered cargo ships show potential. They actually might have potential.
But I like that, though. I'm not going to vote for that. I like that one.
And then there's Nelson Peltz restoring the magic.
I want to hear what Ari thinks. This is tough.
Damien, I was actually going to ask you to go first.
Okay,
wow.
Nelson Peltz. Jeez, what an ego on this man. It is. It's
insists, really.
What's incredible too is that he has no media experience, and the fellow nominee that he wants to bring on the Disney board is a guy who was just the CFO of Disney 4,000 years ago, and his only other board experience is on a radio company.
Yeah, you love that.
Radio.
I do like that.
So the arrogance of Nelson Peltz is astounding, but I love the I don't love the story, the Sam Altman story, the OpenAI story, but I love how it kind of overlaps with what we do here, because one of the things that Matt and I have gotten really big into on the Proxy Countdown is directors' skill sets, right? Board skill sets. And I know we talk a lot about AI and we talk a lot about Sam Altman, and it maybe gets a little bit tiring, but when you have state-sponsored reports coming out saying it could be an extension-level threat, this is important stuff. And that you're right, Matt, that they're basically gaslighting the world by getting rid of AI expertise and women, and then bring on like a kind of like female women washing directors who have no. I'm blabbering, I'm babbling.
Here are the women.
I'm babbling.
It's
That's
a
my
nonprofit board run by Facebook at a nonprofit company whose largest investor.
But you know
is
what
Microsoft.
they're counting on, Matt? They know what they're counting on, which is what we're trying to counteract at this company. We were just fighting for this every day. Is that nobody is paying attention?
Yeah, no one cares.
But
That's right.
us, I think, I
want.
feel in my heart. So
Yeah.
But they can rely on that.
Our
because
data does not rely on
as we pointed
Damien's
out,
heart, though.
time after time, the ISSs, the BlackRocks, they just don't pay attention, or they don't care.
So what's your vote there,
I
Rambo?
said Sam
Is
Altman,
it Nelson?
OpenAI.
All right, you're going with Sam Altman? All right.
I'm going with Nelson Peltz just
Yes,
because
I love a tie. I
Nelson
love a
Peltz
tie.
insists they copy someone else.
I love
do-
a tie.
I
Ari.
like that
It's
one.
really hard for me not to giggle. I read. So the Disney has its own deck that's 63, 67 pages. Nelson Peltz is like 133 pages. I think Blackwell's is like 80, 70 pages. I've read like 250 pages.
Did they need
plus
so much time?
No.
plus literally the last 5 to 7 years of 10Ks at Disney, proxies at Disney. I pulled every skills analysis that they've done of their own board, and then I read all the bios of all the people involved. I've spent so much goddamn time on this.
How do you-
I'm almost pissed at Nelson Peltz for making me do this. I
do you
feel like he made me.
He
I
should
think
hire you
Black-
at this point.
How do you think Blackwell's feels? They were put in the appendix in Disney's filing.
I know.
They had a
I
huge
know, it's
filing about
sad.
Nelson Peltz, and then Appendix A was, oh yeah, Blackwell's is also
So
fighting us.
I think the trolling of OpenAI
Just say,
it is fabulous trolling, but Nelson Peltz is my asshole of the week because he
Yes.
made me
Yeah.
do this. He made me do it.
Come on, let's
I
move
win.
All right, so yeah,
on. What about you, Ari?
I win.
Well, headliniest of the week.
Come on.
I think I will also win.
Go ahead.
Vote on this?
I
think we do.
picked two really good headlines.
Go.
I think.
Yeah, after Damien did like 7 last week, I picked a couple this week.
Well,
too.
because you guys hadn't, I didn't see you guys playing the game. Go ahead, Ari.
All 7 of yours were really good though.
Thank you.
Here we go. I don't know why I said that. Minnesota senator calls female Delta pilot a stewardess during hearing.
Oh.
This is Minnesota Senator
Stewardess?
Jean Dorning.
Why
Yeah.
is stewardess
After
even,
she
why is it even in his brain? Like, I don't even know where
after
that
she
even come
introduced herself and like said, "I'm a pilot. I was
Yeah.
invited here to speak as a pilot." He asked her, "Tell me, what does a day in the life of a stewardess look like?"
Oh my God.
For you.
This guy should work for Greg Maffei and John Malone companies. He'd fit right
Oh,
in.
there you go. He's got a job.
God. Anyway, also got another good one. Wow,
Yeah.
really uplifting ones. I was
Yeah.
in a good mood this morning. What's missing from railroad safety data? Dead workers and severed limbs.
Oh, no, I don't. That headline
good
does
headline.
speak for itself.
I like
yeah.
the wording,
CSX,
though.
Norfolk Southern, they are underreporting.
All right,
That's ProPublica. They're good at headlines.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got 3, and I'm going to start from the bottom up. This one just made me laugh. MSCI Emerging Markets ESG Leaders Equity ETF stock price down 0%.
Oh, look, can I just say I'm thrilled that you
How does that
guys.
get written?
What?
I'm thrilled you both are paying attention to the headlines that I collect, because I collected that one for this reason. It too made me laugh. I was like, "What is this? What is this?"
Ridiculous. It's down.
Is this an automated headline?
I don't know.
It must be, but I love it. I love it. I wish every headline was
That's a good
about a
one.
company that their stock price changed 0. Like, I love that. Here's one that made me upset, which is, I feel like the quote in this is really understated. It is, quote, "really bad timing. Meta is killing misinformation analysis tool on August 14th." That makes me sad and feels like it understates the problem.
Really bad timing, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can we do something about that timing?
Yeah, there's nothing they can do.
No.
And finally, this headline, mostly because the article I clicked through this, is just the headline and a picture. There's no text. Okay. The headline was, nursing a drink at a local bar, Eugene Parham, 83, railed against the woke agenda he insists is ruining his country.
Oh.
And then it's a picture of
Where
an
that
old
headline
guy
came
with a
from?
beer. That's it.
That's all you got to say. It's on the headline.
I just
Well, that's a good segue, Matt.
Nothing else about that's even a headline. That's it. That's the headline.
Can I say that's a good segue to my my first headline, which is this is a new one for me to blame ESG funding. Entertainment Insider says ESG funding is why woke entertainment keeps getting made despite losing audiences. How about that?
ESG funding. What's the ESG funding?
But here's the
They
thing.
fund
Okay,
us?
Is it the S funding or the G funding?
well, once again, the headline writers they're playing tricks with us. What they're really attacking here is DEI, but I think that there's such an anti-ESG agenda now that they have to like shove in ESG now when they're talking
say
about
it every
DEI.
once in a while. Yeah.
But here's what I want to point out. Here's the Entertainment Insider. Are you ready for this? It's a man, of course, named Mark Kern, who started working at Blizzard Entertainment. He's a video games guy. And then he became the co-founder of Red 5 Studios that made one game called Firefall. He was fired by his own board in 2013, and that's it. He hasn't had a job since. His LinkedIn profile still has him at that company.
might have a
He's
job.
done nothing else in entertainment, nothing in video games, nothing since 2013. This is the guy they're going to complain about ESG funding.
It was the ESG funding.
Yeah, okay. And my second headline of the week is my favorite typo of the week. That just made me giggle, even though I realize I'm a
typo
child.
a headline.
Yeah, I almost picked this one.
I'm a child for this, but here's the headline, which they corrected later, but here was the original headline. Unilever boss braces for fight with shareholders amid potential $19 pay package.
They left
like,
out
if
the M.
I was like, are they listening to me finally? Are they finally paying CEOs right? Because that's about right. I think $19 is fine. With the amount of equity you get, $19 is fine.
I love that. I loved when I saw it. I had to click on it because I was
sure.
like, wait, is that really $19 that they're arguing about? Like there's so much more money out there. Why are they upset about that? All right, so
It was 19 million for you. For our dumb listeners. It was 19.
Ari,
million.
why don't you vote first?
Okay, I'm going to go with the dead workers and severed limbs.
Oh,
What's missing from railroad safety data? Just these dead bodies. Come on.
And severed limbs.
for me, it comes down to just in the spirit of this category. It comes down to stock price down 0% or Unilever boss a $19 pay packet. And I'm going to go with stock price down 0%, not because I picked it, but because it is a true story. And they wrote an article about it and the stock price was down 0%. So I'm going to pick that one.
And it was a non-news item.
It was, I don't know how this is news.
I'll break the tie, unfortunately, just because I want to make Ari be a loser in this one. But I do have to go with the MSCI story. Stock price down 0%. Also because I just love the name of this ETF, MSCI Emerging Markets ESG Leaders Equity ETF. It just sounds so important.
Come on.
Well,
you know it becomes MSCI EM ESG LE ETF.
That's right. That's how they shorten it.
That's how
but
they do it.
I like to think that this is the ESG funding that the
That's
Entertainment Insider said
That's
was
true.
making the woke movies. Which brings us to the end of this
Thank
never-ending
God.
show.
Exhausted.
Who won the week? Come on, Damien, you got a winner?
Oh, I have a quick winner. I say this with a question mark, but I guess I'll say Don Lemon. I mean, so Don Lemon was fired. He was meant to have a new show on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Linda Yaccarino, the quote-unquote CEO over there, has already been selling advertising for the new show. So Don Lemon, if you don't know who he is, was fired from from CNN.
yeah.
Well over a year ago. I don't remember when he was fired. He was fired a while ago. Elon Musk hired him, I guess, as a shot against the woke CNN. But then in his very first interview with Elon Musk, I guess Elon did not like the questioning, and so he immediately fired Don Lemon.
Yeah,
so I feel like he's a winner.
It was a really awkward interview
for not working for Elon Musk.
Cringy.
Musk was basically looking at him and be like, I don't like anything you're asking. I don't like this interview. It was like cringy. And it was like, but you are the one. In fact, they courted him for like a long time to get him onto X. They knew what he was about. That it wasn't like a surprise. And then it was overnight, like, we're canceling your contract. And Lemon was like, you can't cancel a contract. Sorry, it doesn't really work that way. So now they're in a lawsuit. He's going to get paid by X, despite the fact that they kicked him off X.
They love to do that. It's like the bakery thing.
What's extra cringy about this is that Elon Musk then blames
DEI?
He blames CNN. He said that he called Don Lemon a puppet of CNN, and he said that like Jeff Zucker wrote the questions. Like what?
The group that fired him.
Don. I mean, this is just moronic. So I feel like Don is the winner here because hopefully he'll get some money in a lawsuit and just. Why would you want this clown as your boss anyway? So
actually, Don Lemon is a winner because everybody now knows who Don Lemon is. I almost picked him because I was like, I didn't care at all about Don Lemon until this. Right. But I will go with this one instead, which is alternative meat.
Alternative meat.
Because here's the headline: Jeff Bezos' philanthropic fund is pouring $60 million into alternative meats to try to make them taste better.
I'm for
lucky.
This. I'm
alternative
for
meat.
No, but
How
look,
lucky.
We've got Mackenzie Scott, who's giving like $170 million to Planned Parenthood, and Jeff Bezos, who gave $60 million to make alternative meats taste better.
Okay, but Matt, to Jeff's credit here, the cattle industry is basically responsible for everything horrible in the world. Let's be real.
False. There's a lot of industries we can do that. Ari, do you have a winner, or are we on to predictions?
We're on to nobody won this week for me.
Yeah.
Nobody
certainly
did
wasn't
this
your
week.
goodliest because they were just downers. All right, predictions. Damien, go ahead, do a prediction.
All right, I'm back to Don Lemon. So my prediction for Don Lemon, unfortunately, and this is I was channeling the whistleblower at Boeing on this one, but Don Lemon ends up in the bottom of a pond in a Tesla.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
Sorry. He's found dead in a Tesla in the bottom of a pond, stuck in reverse with shatterproof windows that he couldn't kick through to get out of the Tesla, with a note wrapped around an Oscar trophy saying, "Blame the Haitian cannibal migrants."
So I don't like that.
To decode this quickly, this week Elon Musk was calling the Oscars too woke. He was also texting about how migrants are coming just so they'll vote for Democrats. It's part of the great replacement theory. And then he was tweeting about cannibals in Haiti. And his own tweet got removed from the company because he was pushing false rumors that there's no proof of cannibals existing in Haiti. But Elon Musk is a complete asshole, so he got his own tweet removed at his own company. So there's
I wish his company would
you.
just screen his tweets before publishing them.
I know all of that was true.
Yeah.
Like that was as in Musk did a lot of these things. I don't like that prediction at all.
And quickly, Ari, the reference to the Tesla in the bottom of a pond is that the sister of Elaine Chao, Angela Chao, she was the CEO of a company, and the sister-in-law of Mitch McConnell, the senator, was found dead in a Tesla, and the report in the bottom of a pond. The report being that, first of all, that there's issues with going into reverse in a Tesla, and allegedly, and she ended up in reverse. It ended up in a pond, and because the glass is so strong, it's reinforced glass that you can't kick through it if you are submerged because it's way too strong. And there is a mechanical pull on the door in situations like this, but it's hidden because because it's been deregulated. Safety, it's been because the automotive industry has fought against regulation so much that mechanical pull was hidden. So it's real. My point being, it's really hard to get out, I guess, of a submerged Tesla. Yeah,
I don't like any of it.
I got a prediction though.
Yeah, please.
I predict this next week that Nelson Peltz is going to drop the Disney fight.
Oh,
No.
you'd be wrong about that.
Watch.
Imagine dropping it now.
That would be amazing.
Watch.
All right. My prediction.
I'm gonna put you down for that though, Ari. I'm gonna write you down.
On the back of this headline, Weight Watchers reeling from collapsing stock and Oprah's departure in the age of Ozempic vows to prove the naysayers wrong and turn its fortunes around. I predict that Weight Watchers classified board of directors decided to publish free flow analytics analysis of Oprah's actual performance, 7% influence, and the third worst on the board for TSR. And then they vote to rename the company Vegetables
Ooh.
and start a campaign called You Still Have to Eat Something in an effort to fight off pill-based weight loss. That is my prediction.
Pill-based weight
I like
loss.
it when they use our data, though. So
Yeah, that's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rallis and Ari the Data Queen. I am your analyst, Matt Muscardi. We are Free Float. Come back next week. On Tuesday, we have The Good Game. On Thursday, we have Proxy Countdown, where we might have to talk more Disney stuff because it's just never ending.
because Nelson Pelt's gonna drop it.
And then Friday, we have the wrap of the week. But until then, goodbye.